US-52. Yeah, alright. Today we are doing my version of US-52, albeit in North Carolina only and not the whole route, because Todd and the TheDerpHog both covered the whole of US-52 earlier on. Let's take a look at the map. As we can see, US-52 in North Carolina is a north-south road. It changes its designation in South Carolina to east-west. Not sure if it does it in other states, because I haven't paid attention to that much in the other videos, but we can see that 52 starts in this very small community called McFarland, and through North Carolina it goes up through some small towns, through Salisbury, runs concurrent with I-85 and I-285 its whole way. That is why we saved I-285 for this video. And we also see it goes to Winston-Salem and up to Mount Airy before going into Virginia. You're watching the Xavier 456. I post new highway content every week. If you like this kind of content, then go ahead and smash the like button. And if you really like it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Alright, I must remind you that you can request your exit or intersection down in the comments below. Next week, we are going to be talking about US-64. That's the longest road in North Carolina. And then we'll be doing US-70 and then US-74 to finish off the two-digit US highways. Alright, so first we are going to be talking about northbound US-52 in North Carolina. So here we are entering in from South Carolina, and we just get state line once again under the North Carolina welcome sign as is per tradition. And we also see there's a McFarland city limit sign right there, along with their own sign down on the ground. After McFarland, we have our very first mileage sign, and it's pretty interesting. Wadesboro is on the top line at 8, and Salisbury is at 68 miles on the bottom line. So Salisbury is where we're meeting with I-85, and we're becoming concurrent with it there, and that's a long way from here. I'm not so certain about how I feel about signing Salisbury from this far out, literally in the beginning of the state. I guess it could work, but I feel like you could have something a bit closer to here. I would personally prefer Albemarle to be the bottom line here, because Salisbury is quite far away, but you can make your own decisions on that. Here in Wadesboro, we are becoming concurrent with US-74, and we can see it's getting signed east for Rockingham, and we're signed north along with West 74 on the concurrency, just straight up Wadesboro. We're basically in Wadesboro right now, so how about we go with something for both routes? Like Albemarle for us, Charlotte for 74. Here's where 52 splits off of 74, makes a right turn, and we also see NC 742 is also turning with us, and we do not get any control cities whatsoever. Although we can see a mileage sign for US-74 up in the distance, we'll get to that in the US-74 video. When we get another mileage sign, we actually get Norwood on the top line at 18, and now Albemarle is swapped for our bottom line at 29. And I get it because it's closer to here than Salisbury, and it's still pretty significant in terms of intersections. We've got a few state routes in Albemarle, so I guess we can make a case for it. But here, once we get our next mileage sign after Norwood, we get Ansonville as an afterthought at 9 miles. Albemarle is now in the middle at 28, but technically the top on the sign. And Salisbury is now on the bottom line at 58. And yeah, at this point, I think signing Salisbury on the bottom line is correct from this point on, because Albemarle is our next real control, and Salisbury is a little bit closer than it originally was, so yeah. Here we are meeting with the 2427 NC State Highway concurrency, and we can also see that there's information for NC 73, but there is no information regarding 24 or 27 at all. What is this? We can also see that there is a business 52, and we can see we're signed straight for Salisbury. Eastbound 24 and 27 get absolutely nothing, which I guess, it's quite a distance to Fayetteville, so I guess that works, but westbound is signed for Charlotte! Holy crap! Charlotte, yes! Great job, NCDOT, with those state routes. Rare North Carolina W for you! We'll get to NC-24 later on in the series. Once we're well past Albemarle, we come to Richfield, and here is one of TheDerpHog's pictures he sent me. He has 6 of them for this video. And we're meeting with NC-49. Here is what it looks like on NC-49, and we can see both directions for 52. We also got a North Carolina historic marker for the Beringer Mine, which is nice. After that interchange, we actually got a mileage sign, and we can see that Salisbury is actually on the top line this time, and Winston-Salem is on the bottom line. Holy goodness, North Carolina, you are swinging it well here. That's a rare North Carolina W for US-52. And DerpHog was pretty lucky to catch this one. Thank you to him. We now meet with I-85 when we come into Salisbury, and we can see it's signed south for Charlotte, as it absolutely should be. They're straight for Salisbury downtown. And North 52 is now joining with North 85, and we're signed for Lexington. What are they doing here? They're favoring US-52. Because that is where 52 leaves 85 and goes via 285 next. No! What you need to do here is sign Greensboro, which is for 85. Here is another picture that DerpHog took, and this one's on I-85, and I did not actually get the chance to show this in my US-29 video, my previous video. Here is where we're meeting US-29, and it's becoming concurrent with us along with 70. We can see they're signed for Spencer. Well, you just came from Salisbury, so I guess northbound it works, but southbound you should definitely have Salisbury with Spencer. And we're signed North 85, North 29, North 52, and East 70. At least all of these routes are being recognized this time. For Greensboro and Winston-Salem. Great job there. And here is another picture from the DerpHog. This is where US-52 joins with I-285 and runs throughout its whole length, and we're going to follow that. 85 north is signed for Greensboro and High Point. Those are the other way around. And we are signed for Lexington and Winston-Salem on US-52 and North I-285. On I-285, we get really interesting stuff. Instead of getting reassurance shields, we actually get reassurance signs referencing the 4 highways here, 29, 285, 52, and 70. And we can also see some reassurance shields up there. Now, normally I would be going more in depth, but there's not much to cover between the I-85 interchange and the 29 and 70 split. We're seeing they're signed for High Point, and 285 and 52 North are signed for Winston-Salem, as we absolutely should be. We meet with US-64 at exit 89, and it is getting signed for Lexington and Moxville. I mean, Moxville's okay, but Lexington is literally right there. Here's our only mileage sign that I could find on I-285, and we're signed Winston-Salem on the top line at 10, because we're pretty darn close to it, and Mount Airy is the bottom line at 45. And yeah, I know that is for US-52. That comes after Mount Airy and is our really next significant control city after the Piedmont Triad, so I guess that could work. Here we're meeting I-40, which is getting signed east for Greensboro and west for Statesville. No, Asheville. Asheville, not Statesville. Here we're meeting US-158 and US-421, and we're just getting Kentucky treatments of Salem Parkway. No control city west and northbound. East and southbound, they're signed for Kernersville, which is a suburb of the Piedmont Triad. What you'd be signing here is Greensboro, because Greensboro is where 40 is going, and 421 will lead you to 40. Here, near downtown Winston-Salem, we are meeting with US 311, and it's signed Kentucky treatment for MLK Junior Drive and downtown. There is a lot of construction going on US 52. As we can see, this is a future interchange with I-74. And what's happening here is US 52 is basically running in what would be an Interstate 74 corridor at this point. At minor interchanges, 52 is signed south for Winston-Salem, as it absolutely should be, but it's getting signed north for Pilot Mountain, and not Mount Airy. And I know Pilot Mountain is like a scenic area, but even still, that doesn't make it Control City worthy. But once we get a mileage sign, yes, Mount Airy is on the bottom line, of course, with Pilot Mountain thrown onto the top at 4. And this is another one of the DerpHog's pictures. Here is a ramp to the scenic overlook for Pilot Mountain. We can actually see it up there in distance. It's a cool looking mountain. And here is the only other reason we signed Pilot Mountain, because we meet with NC268, which is getting signed for Pilot Mountain and Elkin. Here's the last picture I had from the DerpHog, and we're seeing it is a pull-through for US-52 north for Mount Airy, and west I-74 to I-77 for Wytheville. I don't even know if that should be what should be signed at all. I feel like Charleston would do the job, but Wytheville, there has been a lot of debate going on this. So US-52 splits into a bypass and a business route. And for the northbound, we're actually going to be taking the business route and we'll be taking the bypass southbound. Here we have a Yadkin Valley sign for Mount Airy Visitor Center, downtown Mayberry attractions, and Granite City Greenway. We also meet with NC 103 while we're on the business route. Nothing really important there. The business route comes back into the bypass here to form normal 52, and it's just south and north. There's absolutely no control city. But there is a mileage sign further up, and this time it is a one-liner, and all we get is Hillsville at 18 miles. Hillsville, Virginia is basically our next control city, and I guess, yeah, that could work. We now enter Virginia, and all we get is a monument and 2 I-77 and 9.5 miles and a pathetic Enter Virginia sign. What the heck, VDOT? Alright, now it's time to turn around and talk about southbound. US-52 in North Carolina. We come into North Carolina in the Yadkin Valley. We have a nice view of the hills. Here's where the business and bypass split, and this time we are taking the bypass. We're continuing straight and bypassing Mount Airy. Here is the beginning of US 601 as it goes south from here, and there is absolutely no control city. Much later on, we meet with I-74 to I-77 to Withville. That's a little more weird. I don't even know if Withville should be a control city. It's not bad, but I don't know. Here's what it looks like at this interchange with US 52's controls. 52 North Mount Airy, although it's very close by, and 52 South Winston-Salem. Good work here. Although, once we get a mileage sign, Winston-Salem is on the top line at 30, and Lexington is on the bottom at 51. Lexington is only there because that's where I-285 ends. No, I'd rather just see Winston-Salem be a one-liner here because it's far enough to be a one-liner. 30 miles is an okay distance for a one-liner like this, and I say Lexington should not be on this sign at all. Here is the future split to I-74. All we're getting is a bowl-through for 52 South Winston-Salem and no other sign on there. Hopefully this will be completed in the near future. Here's the best shot of downtown Winston-Salem I could get from US-52, along with the sign for US-311 North, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive downtown. We're also meeting US-158 and 421 with the Kentucky treatment of Salem Parkway and the horrible control city of Kernersville up there. Why? You're beating I-40 for East Greensboro and West Statesville when it should be Asheville. Here's what it looks like on I-40, and we can see North 52 Mount Airy and South 285 and South 52 Lexington. That was the only reason we put Lexington on that mileage sign all the way back there. Why the heck? We shouldn't be signing Lexington. We should be signing Charlotte because of I-85. Here is one of those reassurance signs covered by trees. South 285, South 52, and South NC8. At minor interchanges, we got Mount Airy and Lexington on this particular interchange. Mount Airy is there because we are already still in the Winston-Salem city limits. And Lexington signed south because God knows why. And also, this is one of those rare occurrences where NCDOT put up a Clearview sign instead of a Highway Gothic sign, which is cool. Here is another mileage sign. This time, Lexington is on the top line at 13 where it belongs, but now Salisbury got thrown into the bottom line at 29. Where is Charlotte? We should be seeing Charlotte on the bottom line and not Salisbury. Salisbury is only there because that's where 52 splits off of I-85. No. Sign Charlotte because it's your biggest city. Here we're getting US 64 for Lexington and Moxville. I don't know about Lexington being there. We're pretty close to it. Moxville, okay. Although on this interchange, we are getting North 285, North 52 Winston-Salem, and South for Charlotte, as it absolutely should be. There's no Salisbury on here, so North Carolina, you need to make up your mind. After the rest of I-285 and the concurrency with I-85, we split off of I-85 and we're signed 52 South, Salisbury, and Albemarle. Although Salisbury is for the road going north, and Albemarle is for us, and I think Albemarle is the right choice. We also see that there is a 601 interchange coming up on I-85. Although, once we get off of I-85, we get a one-liner mileage sign, with Granite Quarry being the only thing on it at 3 miles. NCDOT, I am absolutely appalled right now. What is this abomination? Why don't you have Albemarle on the mileage sign even after you signed it from I-85? What are you doing? This is horrible, this is atrocious, and I'm just going to do this. So here Granite Quarry actually welcomes us with their own sign. You can see it's founded 1901. So worth it for signing it only 3 miles away. Here meeting with NC49 again, and this time it does actually get control cities this way. Although DerpHog might have not caught the control cities on the other side if there were any. But here we're seeing some rare North Carolina W's of Asheboro and Charlotte on NC49. Goodness, NCDOT! Why are you doing so good on the state routes most of the time and not your other routes? Why can't you be like this on all of your roads? Here's what our control cities look like on 49 itself. We got Salisbury and Albemarle, and I think those are right. In Albemarle, we meet with NC73, and it's just getting signed for downtown, and that's the only control city it gets. Here we're meeting 24 and 27. This time we do have information for it, and we can see Charlotte is signed for them heading westbound which is absolutely amazing, although I do not get anything for eastbound, as we are only focusing on what's our next control city southbound, and it is Wadesboro. And I guess you could make a case for Wadesboro because that's where you meet with US-74. There's not so much more significant down the road until South Carolina, so here is a one-liner mileage sign with only Wadesboro on it at 18 miles. I guess a one-liner here could work. I've said Wadesboro is pretty much a bit significant for us. Here we are meeting and becoming concurrent with US-74. In this case, we're becoming concurrent with the eastbound. Westbound is getting signed for Monroe as opposed to Charlotte, because you signed it on the state routes, but no, you gotta treat the US highways poorly. Why must you be so stupid? Here we're splitting off of US-74, and here it's getting signed east for Rockingham, and we can see we're signed south for Cheraw now. There's also an afterthought direction signed for Morven. I don't really know why that's there, but Cheraw is basically our next control, and I think that is alright. Although once we get a mileage sign, North Carolina swings it again, and we got Cheraw on the top line at 23 and Florence on the bottom line at 62. That's a great choice, man, with favoring another big South Carolina city. You're doing this at the end of your stay a lot, and I do appreciate it. And now we are welcomed into South Carolina. Once again, we get the old sign rather than the new sign, because either the street view is too old or they haven't replaced it yet. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the Xavier 456 is the way it should be, for US-52, I-285, and Interstate 74. Alright, so northbound I say we should be signed for Wadesboro from the start, then sign Albemarle, and then Salisbury, and then once we join with I-85, Greensboro, and then once we join I-285, Winston-Salem, and that should be signed the whole way. And then, honestly, I'd say we go Charleston, because I'm not certain about Wytheville, as we're with I-74. And once you split off of 74, Mount Airy for us, and then Hillsville. And then southbound, we sign Mount Airy from the start, then Winston-Salem, and then Charlotte, because that's what should be signed on I-285 all the way because of I-85, and that should remain once we get on I-85. And then Albemarle once we split off, and then Wadesboro, and then Cheraw. Alright, that's it for US-52, my version of North Carolina. Next time we are going to be talking about US-64, and oh boy, that's going to be a long one. Probably going to be my longest highway video yet. Alright, I'll see you then, and may peace be with you.